In the last video, we'd added a qualification to our course on the Bedford Grade Tracker, and we had that there, and we looked at making sure the students were on the correct qualification and that they were set up on the right units. And when we did that, we realised that we didn't quite have the right units on our course yet, because we only had 160 credits and there should have been 180. So we're going to have a little look now at how you can go about fixing this. If you're confident, you'll be able to fix it yourself. If you're finding it a little bit difficult, you can put through an ICT grade tracker job or talk to someone, one of the technicians or something, and get a little bit of help with that. So we're going to have a little look at just sort of seeing what units we've got and how we could add new ones. So I'm going to look at the block here, and a way I could go in and do this is view and edit the grading grids by unit, and that just gives me a way of going in and having a look to see what units I've got there. So I'm going to click by unit, and that gives me a list for this qualification of the different units we've got. So the first thing you need to do is have a look at each of those and see if there are any missing. If there are any missing, we're going to need to go back into the admin block again and add them. But whilst you're here, what you might want to do is actually have a look at each of these units and make sure that we've got the right criteria on them. This is a BTEC, but obviously you can look at the same sort of style with your City and Guilds, NVQs, etc. So I'm looking at the first unit here, which is got a unique ID and a name, so it's two in its computer systems. And if I just click on View Simple here, that will actually show me the grading grid, and the grading grid shows me each of the different pass, merit and distinction criteria here. So I can have a double check, just check through that actually not only is the correct unit on the qualification, but they've actually been entered correctly with the correct criteria. So I've got the criteria along the top, but against the students' names, I can click on this little information button. The students will be able to do the same things themselves, but to actually look at their units. Click on that, and that's giving me a link, and it's got the unit name, and it's got all the criteria, and then the actual criteria details from the specification. So you can just double check that. It's worth doing this, because when you start off the year, you want to make sure that you're actually grading all these things correctly. So have a little look-see, and we can have a look at these later and see what we need to do if we need to change anything. So that's just to give us an idea. If you're lucky, everything will be on there. It'll be on there correctly and you won't need to do anything. But there's a possibility that you may be running unusual units, have just made up your mind that you're going to study some particular new units. So you may need to add these. So I'm going to go back and back. And by this point, I'll have made a note of any missing units, etc. So I'm going to have to go back into the grade tracker block now, into admin, and to set up those units that we've got missing. So I'm going to click on admin, and at this point we're going to be possibly looking at units, possibly looking at qualifications. Now a lot of these units have already been set up for us, and it may just be that the units are on the system but haven't been linked to that particular qualification yet. So I think probably the first thing we'd want to do is to go into the qualification, into units, add and remove units from a qualification, just to see if they're already up there on the system. So I'm going to click that one. I'm going to search for my qualification again, and I'm going to select that. And I'm going to look at adding, removing units on the qualification. So we'll click on that button. Okay, that shows me a list of all the units that are on the qualification. And along this right hand side are all of the units that are on the system that we could be adding to this particular qualification. So it may already be on the system but not have been added to our qualification yet. So I could scroll down here, there's quite a few of them, or I could go into the search box, and I might know that I've got something to do with gaming platforms for my qualification. Be careful here, if you start pressing the space button and things like that, it may not work properly with the search, so make sure you just type in the word you want and we can click on search. And what I can see here is there are some units on here. Now, one of the units I wanted was this unit 22, developing computer games. So I can select that unit and I can add it to my qualification. And now you see I've got 17 units on my qualification. I've got a total of 170 credits. So that one was nice and easy. I didn't need to create that. I'd already got it on the system. It just hadn't been linked to my qualification yet. There may be several different units that are shared between different qualifications, so that's why it might not have got added. But I actually know that I want something to do with gaming platforms. So I'm going to search for platform, and there's no unit for that for any of the qualifications. So this is one that unfortunately I'm going to have to go in and create that actual unit myself from scratch so that I can add it. So I've done everything I can do here. I'll go back to my menu. Now we're in units and we're going to add a new unit. So I shall click on that and it says, it gives us an overview here. So unit type, I'll click on this, it's BTEC. Specification, BTEC Nationals from 2010 in my case. Level, you'd think it would know this, but it doesn't. So level 3. Okay, and then it's gradually adding different sections as we go along, and anything with the asterisk obviously needs completing. So subtype, all others. And now we need some details that we can only get from the specification. So I've already got my web page open with that particular qualification. Okay, so here I've got a unique code that I can right click, copy, go back and paste it in there. Make sure no weird hieroglyphics or spaces or anything comes up. You may need to edit it. I think some of the things like Sitting Guilds sometimes come up with strange like percentage signs and things that you might need to get rid of. Name, I'm going to go back here. Let's grab that, copy. Paste it in there. Do I want to put any details or descriptions in here? I could copy that in, I suppose. And then it's defaulting to 10 credits, which in fact this unit is. So I've done that part. Now it's asking us about the specific criteria, how many pass, merit, distinction there are. If it's a pass level only type unit, which there are sometimes, you'll only be entering passes, but often you'll have pass, merit and distinction criteria. Let's go back here and I need to find the criteria. Here we go. So I've got 4, 4 and 4, so that's pretty cool. I can work that one out and go back here. So I'm going to have 4 here. Oops, sorry, missed 4. It's reloading the page each time it does this, so it's a bit clunky. Oh. Now we're down here and it's given us spaces for each of the different criteria. So we've got P1 to 4, M1 to 4, D1 to 4. Now we can go back to here and I'm going to be doing some copying and pasting. So that's P1, copy, back, right click. So I've pasted that in, and we can do that for all of the different criteria. If the merits are almost identical to the passes, you can copy them across, and likewise with the distinctions. So I shall go ahead and fill all those in. You don't want to watch me doing that. I've entered all those now. You don't really want to sit and watch me doing all that, did you? So we've got our unit set up. It has all the descriptions, and it has the pass, merit and distinction criteria. And at this point we're going to click save. Saved, it's giving you a big message up there to let you know. So we've got that done. Let's go back. So we've added a new unit. We've got that done. If you noticed any errors in any ones that were added, you can go into edit the unit. So you've got that. And now what we need to do is take that new unit and add it to our qualifications so that we can grade it. So we're going to go back into qualifications again, and then we're going to go add remove units from a qualification. So click here. I'm going to search for my course. Dink. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to add remove units on qualifications. This is where we went before when we found one that we'd already made. So I sort of have created that, and I remember that it had platform as part of. I better spell it correctly or I won't find it. Search. Okay, there it is, the one we've just added. Click there, add. Right, now if we look for our qualification, we have got 18 units, 180 credits in this case. So that's all I need to do. You may have many more units that you need to add, so you'll need to go through that process to do them. But you've got your qualification all set up nicely. So we're back at the dashboard. We can add more units if we need to. We can edit units. But if we're happy that our qualification's set up now, we don't need to do anything more to that. So I'm going to go back to my course and find it. What you will notice when you do this is you go through lots and lots of different levels, and it's not always easy to find your way back. So sometimes you might just need to go my courses and find the course up the top here. So I've got my qualifications on course now. I can go into view and edit the grid by unit just to check that everything's now okay. I've got all my units, including my new one that I've just added. So I've checked all the way through those. I can go through by student just to see that my students are all through onto this qualification. I can view Lisa's grid just to make sure that I've got everything I need. Work our way through. So when we look at Lisa, we can scroll through all the different units that she's on. And what I can see here is she doesn't seem to have been added to the new unit we just created. So if you notice that, we're going to need to go back to our dashboard and just double check what's happening with the qualification. Okay, qualifications on course. We've got the qualification. We can edit the students' units. And here we are, the two units, the one that we added that was already created, you see it hasn't been ticked. The one we just created hasn't been ticked. So I want all my students to cover those units. So I can tick them by clicking the black arrow at the top. Okay, so now they're all on those units so that I can grade them against the units. It's taken a little while to get this set up. If if you haven't got all your units set up at the beginning, you need to get it organised. You need to double check that everything's been entered correctly for you. But once you've got that out of the way, unless you find you're adding new units as the year goes by or something, you won't have to go and do this again. It'll be set up and you're ready to start grading your students. But do take the time to check this at the beginning so that you know that everything's correct for you.